بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام وصلوا الأرحام وصلوا والناس نيام تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, I have quoted a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in front of you. Before we discuss this hadith, I'd like to give a very brief background to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As we all know, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we've studied the seerah, we've read in the seerah, the biography of our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that in Mecca Mukarramah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba went through severe persecution. That the days in Mecca were not easy days. They were there, they were from there, they were born and raised over there. Rasulullah was known as Al-Amin amongst them, the trustworthy, As-Sadiq, the truthful. Everyone entrusted him, everyone held him in a very high esteem. And the rest of the Meccan Sahaba, they were just from like the rest of the people. They were also Arab, they spoke the same language, they had the same skin color. There was no difference. The only difference came is when the proclamation of La ilaha illallah was made, when the Sahaba and Rasulullah stood up and proclaimed Shahadatain, and they bore testimony of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is when the climate changed. And the climate changed drastically and very rapidly, such that words not only remained as words, rather it turned into persecution, physically, and any way possible. Until the command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came for the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the Muslims, the believers, to make hijrah and migrate to Medina al-Munawwarah. So slowly by slowly, sometimes individuals, sometimes smaller groups, sometimes couples amongst Sahaba radiallahu anhum would make this migration, and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, those that could afford it, those that were able to, they left Mecca Mukarramah and they settled in Medina Munawwarah. Until Rasulullah himself with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu made hijrah to Mecca Mukarramah. Now I want us to think about this. This isn't something new. This isn't a lesson. We're just going over some things together. That we all know of this. That this was a very real situation. Sometimes we think that the Sahaba anhum, Rasulullah, they would just all day and night just stay in the masjid, just talk about hadith, qiyamah, and that's all there was. That they didn't have any other obligations, or that there were no other responsibilities that they had, or that they were living in some type of bubble almost. But to the contrary, their situation was very real. Perhaps more real than ours. If you open the pages of history and seerah and see the difficulties and the tribulations that the Sahaba anhum endured and the socio-political climate that they were facing, it was very difficult to live in. So now in light of this, Rasulullah and I want to keep this in mind, that they make hijrah to Medina Munawwarah. And it is at this point that this hadith of Rasulullah should really sink very deep into our hearts. That in light of such a great plight, in light of this immense difficulty, that there are people actually migrating, that they have to leave their homes. They have to leave their homes, their life is in danger, their wealth has been abandoned for most of them back in their hometowns, they're being persecuted. When Rasulullah comes to Medina Munawwarah, this is very crucial. That at this point, what will Rasulullah tell the Sahaba? What are they going to do? How will they establish themselves as a community? Because we find ourselves always asking us this question, that we are in such a difficult time. The climate is definitely not suitable for us. So what do we turn to? How do we do? What do we do? That in light of this challenge, so Rasulullah comes to Medina Munawwarah, and this is a hadith quoted in Musnad Ahmad, in Tirmidhi and others, that Abdullah bin Salam, who at that time had not accepted Islam, he was from amongst the ulama of Yahud. He was from amongst the scholars of the Jews in Medina. He says that when Rasulullah came to Medina, all the people went out to meet him, to see him, in greeting Rasulullah. So he said, I also went to see that who is this person? So Abdullah bin Salam said, the very first thing that came to my mind, what came to my heart, is that this is not a face of a liar. At this time he was not a Muslim yet. Later on he became radiallahu anhu, he accepted Islam. So he says that I went and I saw, and he said that this cannot be the face of a kadhib, that this man must be true in what he is saying. And then Abdullah bin Salam says the very first thing, again I'll remind that keep in mind in what situation, that this is hijrah, migration being made. That these are migrant Sahaba who have left their homes, they are persecuted in such a climate. He says the very first words I heard Rasulullah ﷺ saying was what? 4 things. أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام وصلوا الأرحام وصلوا والناس نيام تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. He says I heard Rasulullah ﷺ saying 4 things. The very first, أفشوا السلام. He didn't say grab arms, we're going to attack tomorrow. He says what? Spread salam amongst yourselves. Afshu salam. Make salam very common. You know the person. It's a hadith of Rasulullah. That salim ala man araftum man lam ta'rif. You know the person or do not know the person. Make salam. Anytime 2 Muslims meet one another, make salam. The Quran Kareem says, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا وَرُدُّوهَا. If someone says Assalamu alaikum to you, then either you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, or at least the same. That for each dua a person adds, they get more thawab. So the very first advice of Rasulullah in this very real climate, it's a challenging time. The situation is not helping the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, that they have left their homes, is what? Afshu salam. Let's spread salam amongst yourselves. Now let us ask ourselves that how is this a situation, how is this helping, or is this a solution to what the problem is? And in this one advice of Rasulullah, he is saying that, O Jama'ah of Muslimin, O Ummah of Rasulullah, that if we cannot do something as simple as salam amongst ourselves, which means what? That our hearts are united. We are making salam, that means the hearts are united. If you're not making salam, that means your hearts are not united. Then forget about standing up against anyone. If the Muslim Ummah in itself cannot make salam to one another, then there is absolutely no hope for us to stand up against anyone else. So afshu salam, spread salam amongst yourselves. Whether you like it or not, whether that person invited you to their son's walima or not, make salam. For small things. Right? I will never say salam to this sister again. I will never say salam to this brother again. Why? Oh, because he didn't do this. Oh, he made this face at me. Or why don't you make salam to me first? Rasulullah says, Al-badi'u bis-salam bari'a min al-kibri. The one who initiates the salam, that is a testimony that that person is free from arrogance and pride. Al-badi'u bis-salam, the one who initiates the salam. And فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran Kareem says that vie with one another towards good, compete in things of good. So say salam first. You see someone from a distance, be the first one to say salam. And this isn't a greeting like any other greeting. It's not the same as saying hello, good morning. It's not the same. Rather, salam means what? That this is already a proclamation for this person. He's already saying that you will have peace from my side. I will not hurt you. I will not say anything which may hurt you. I will not do anything to you which will hurt you. Before I deal with you, before I sell something to you, before I buy something from you, my transaction will be rest assured that I won't cheat you, because I already said salam. Said assalamu alaikum. Now we'll deal. We say that is what a Muslim does. When 2 Muslims meet, what do? You first say salam. So you're already telling the person that the person is actually practicing upon the hadith of Rasulullah, that Muslim man salim al-muslimun min lisanihi wa yadihi. The Muslim is that one who other Muslims are safe from his hands and his tongue. So a person is already saying that rest assured, be safe. There will be absolutely no harm coming from my end. The second, أطعموا الطعام, that feed one another. Feed one another. أطعموا الطعام. It's not only about those that invite me, I will invite them. Make it something very common amongst yourselves. They eradicate poverty amongst yourselves, because that leads to more corruption. أطعموا الطعام وصلوا الأرحام. Join family ties. Join family ties. If 5 people in one household cannot be united, how are you imagining the entire ummah? In every gathering, people complain about what? Oh, the ummah is like this. The ummah is like that. We are not united. Well, is your household united? 5 people in a house, 6 people, one family, uncles, cousins. Are you united? 10 people, 20 people in a family? If the answer is yes, then we can maybe start thinking about others. And if the answer is no, which is the common scenario in most situations, then how are you talking about getting the entire ummah united? Silatul arham, wasilul arham, that join family ties. And lastly, after you've done all of this social good work, that you did ifsha salam, that you're saying salam to one another, your character is very good, you're feeding, you're so generous, silatul arham, you're upholding family ties. Now, sallu wa nasu niyam. Don't go home at night and pat yourself and say, mashallah, I did so much work, I give so much da'wah, I taught so much Quran and Hadith, I did so much social and welfare work, now I can go to sleep rest assured that I've done my part. No. وَصَلُّوا وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ. Now stand up and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Perform your salah whilst people are sleeping. صَلُّوا وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ. Right? That's the underlying factor. That whatever work a person does, that is the difference between working for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, working for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the upliftment of kalimah la ilaha illallah, and doing any other work. You can build a masjid, but if it is not with connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will not have the same effect. You can be teaching and learning and reading and da'wah and welfare work, all of that is in its place, but if there is no connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then all of that is on one side. وَصَلُّوا وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ. So the sifa of the Sahaba, the quality of the Sahaba, that they would cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at night. Read Surah Dhariyat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the sifat of the Sahaba, the quality. That the enemies of the Sahaba, they would say, how do we look at these Sahaba? The fursanun bin naha wa ruhbanun bil layl. They're riders by the day and monks by night. So where they work during the day, they are also turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by night. These are the 4 things which Rasul said in his first advice to the Sahaba, the community, in this very real situation. Now let's stop and look at all 4 of these things. Giving salam, feeding one another, joining family ties, and standing in, performing salah, and supplicating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and asking for the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All 4 of these things can be done at what? At an individual level. You don't need any government, you don't need any mayor, or you don't need any political power. None of these things are needed. In all of these, each person, himself, herself, can every day practice upon this. You can say salam to one another, you can feed one another, and feeding doesn't mean you need to give a feast. You can give whatever little you have, to the amount that you have. You can join family ties, that's by cleansing your own heart, and you can turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't need anyone else for all of these things. So what does this again emphasize? Look at the prophetic advice of Rasul. And although it may seem very simple, but that is the idea. It's supposed to be simple. That people are supposed to find a solution. That each person is able to find a solution in his or her situation. And that is the beauty of Islam. So these 4 things which Rasul said, and what happens at the end? تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ بِسَلَامٍ. That you will enter into Jannah, which is the objective. The objective is not materialistic. Rather, تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ بِسَلَامٍ. You will enter into Jannah with peace. So make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq. These very 4 simple advices of Rasul sallallahu, which is very pertinent to us today, every day, and till the hereafter, that we practice upon these and that we propagate it to others. May dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives tawfiq.
While the rest of the brothers are finishing their sunnah, make your way forward, inshallah. Fill in these gaps. Make complete rows. I see this third row, fourth row. They have a lot of space, open space. Make your way forward, inshallah. Fill in all these gaps. Inshallah, Baitul Mal organization is holding a benefit dinner tonight at 6 p.m. in Shalimar Banquets for the poor in Pakistan. They're having a special guest, Yunus Khan, from Pakistan, inshallah. Ta'ala. Tomorrow is the winter clothing drive at ICW from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. This will be for Syrian and Palestinian refugees living in Jordan. Please read the flyers posted on the notice board and exit, inshallah, for more details and follow those instructions, inshallah. Once again, this is not at MSI, this is at ICW, inshallah. All right, and then lastly, MSI will be hosting a 2020 census job fair on Saturday, November 9th here at the masjid from 2 to 4 p.m., inshallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على السلام حي على السلام حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله، الحمد لله علي الذات عظيم الصفات سمي السمات كبير الشان جليل القدر رفيع الذكر مطاع الأمر جلي البرهان فخيم الاسم غزير العلم وسيع الحلم كثير الغفران جميل الثناء جزيل العطاء مجيب الدعاء عميم الإحسان سريع الحساب شديد العقاب أليم العذاب عزيز السلطان ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد عبده ورسوله أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم